Hi, I'm Buddy, your average Clark County talking dog. I spend so much time in my backyard, I appreciate that my owners practice non-toxic sustainable gardening. Join me in seeing how to do things right, because natural gardening starts at home.
Buddy's right. Natural gardening starts at home. Today we're visiting local residents Emily and her grandfather Steve, who's teaching her about doing things right in the garden. They start by taking their fruit and vegetable scraps and other material out to the compost bin. Steve explains that compost can happen in a bin or a simple pile in your backyard. Successful composting requires moisture, air, and beneficial organisms to break down the material. Use an equal mix of green materials like lettuce or lawn clippings that contain nitrogen, and brown material like fallen leaves to provide dry carbon, but never anything made of plastic. Neutral materials such as eggshells are also good. Now they put in grass clippings and pine needles. Then they put the lid back on properly. Grandpa says with enough green and brown and moisture, in a couple days it produces heat and starts to decompose, breaking down the materials to make excellent organic matter to put around their plants. Uh-oh, Emily sees a big weed. She asks how they should get rid of it. Steve says he never uses chemicals in the garden. One of his non-toxic weed-killing methods is to use boiling water. This gets rid of annual and perennial weeds. But be careful not to burn yourself. Pour the water from just a few inches and straight down on the crown of the weed. Now for planting. Take care to always plant the right plant in the right place. Grandpa shows Emily the information which helps you to know how to place each plant for the best growing conditions. They gently separate the roots that became tangled while growing in their pots. Each plant is placed in a hole just deep enough to reach, but not rise above the bottom of the plant. Then they push the soil down to force out the air so it won't dry out the roots.
I'm careful not to run around the garden where young flowers are.
Yes, Buddy, you're a good dog to have in the yard. After planting, it's time to mulch. Gramps explains that mulch promotes plant health, discourages weeds, and maintains important moist soil. Here, they're using an organic mulch, which will improve the soil as it decomposes around the plants. Then, Emily sees a slug. Is that bad? Yes, says Gramps. They'll eat seedlings and mature plants. To be sustainable, don't give them a place to live. Clean up garden debris where slugs hide. Spread crushed eggshells to make it uncomfortable for them to crawl around. And remove them immediately so they don't have time to reproduce. Slugs can be collected and thrown into a bucket of soapy water or sprinkled with salt. A little goes a long way. And shallow bowls filled with beer will attract them in to drown.
I licked a slug once by mistake. Yuck!
The final job today is pruning. It's important to keep any diseased areas of your shrubs trimmed and put in the trash. Don't put them in the compost pile where they could spread disease to the finished compost. Also, pick up and dispose of diseased fallen leaves. Remember, healthy plants can fight off disease and pests better than unhealthy plants. Gramps explains it's important to use the right pruning shears and to keep their edges sharp and clean. First, they cut away the broken, diseased, and dead parts of the plant. They also cut out the central leader where double leaders have started. Emily enjoys learning to prune properly. Now that the chores are done, Emily's ready to play ball with her dog Bailey. But first, she needs to clean up after him. Buddy, why don't you take it from here?
Thanks. Yes, it's important to clean up after your dog. That stuff is a major source of water pollution. Keeping the yard clean is better for the environment and for the health of your family, pets, and community. But now for the fun. Because Emily and her grandfather followed the simple rules of gardening done right, it's a real joy to play ball in this backyard. It's pretty and safe. So for the sake of your family, your pets, and all your green neighbors, just follow the simple guidelines you've seen here. That's non-toxic, sustainable gardening done rough. I mean, right.